I am not interested. Sounds familiar, right? It's the most common objection salespeople face every day, and for the prospects, it's called conditional reflex. Now, this sentence or this word may come in various shapes and forms, but the messaging is the same. For example, we are satisfied with the current vendor. We are not considering a switch. We are not on the market, etc., etc., etc. Most salespeople, when faced with this objection, respond in couple of ways. Very common of them are like few of them would disconnect the call, couple of them would say okay, thank you, and few of them who are a bit more aggressive would say, there are multiple customers who are looking for certain this kind of a solution or offering or a product. Why are you not? Being aggressive is good, but you should not indulge yourself in such kind of a conversation with the customer because it leaves a bad taste. After all, why should your customer, just think yourself, why should a customer even bother to tell you the reason of his disinterest? On the other side of the spectrum, there are salespeople who take the rejection defensively. They take it as their personal rejection. But there's nothing personal about it. There can be n number of reasons for the customer to say no to you or not interested to you. And it can be time, it can be budget, it can be their decision making process, it can be their past experiences. There can be so many reasons. One additional reason to not take it personally is that statistically, right, 80% of the sales closure needs 5 follow-ups. Now, in your case, you can be on the first call, second call, third call. So there's still room for you, right? So don't get disheartened. You need to handle this objection a bit more skillfully if you encounter the similar kind of an objection in various shapes and forms. Now the objective of the call should change to getting the customer agree to a future date of engagement, getting the customer agree to some material that can be of interest to him or of interest to your organization if you need to share it with him for his decision making. By asking open ended questions and seeking their perspective towards the future course of direction, you can gently guide the conversation towards a positive outcome. Example, when the prospect says, I'm not interested, one of the response can be, I understand and respect your decision, Mr. Prospect. May I ask you a question? Would it be unfair for me to expect to be first in the line of the people whom you would be speaking with when the next time you have the requirement? Here, you are setting up stage for potential future business, right? And if the customer says yes, you have got additional chance to ask another question. You may ask, Mr. Prospect, would you mind if I share with you certain brochure or certain information relevant to your requirement? When the prospect says yes, because there's nothing for him to lose, right? If you are sending him certain information. And when the prospect says yes, he's giving you additional time for asking one or two more questions. Just ask him certain things which closes down to what exactly is he needing, and then accordingly you share the same material rather than sharing anything from your basket. Now the question that may be in your mind is that what have you achieved out of this call, right? So the answer towards it is that rather than having this as a dead call, you have got certain measurable outcomes of this call. You now have made customer agree for a future engagement, right? You have taken certain tangible information from the customer so that you can share relevant reports or materials to him for his decision making. There is one more tactful way of addressing I am not interested objection, and that is, Mr. Customer, I understand and respect your decision, but before we disconnect or before we end this call, would you guide me to know what possibly needs to occur before you start searching or evaluating for dash? I repeat, what possibly needs to occur before you start searching or evaluating for dash? Now, that dash can be your product, your services, your offering, what have you. Now, this is a very powerful and unintrusive question. You're not asking a prospect to buy now. You're just asking for a stimulus that would lead for him to take decision. Right? You're just asking for a stimulus, and that stimulus has no boundary. So you're not restricting him to a certain set of boundary where you're asking this month, that month, what have you. It's just an open-ended question where you are requesting him to tell about the reasons of his purchase. This would enable you to better understand what you need to position and how you need to position in the subsequent calls. If you want to learn about different ways to handle objections that are bothering you, please comment below.